Hi there everyone, it's Kylie Pertel from Happy Little Stampers, and I'm going to show you a technique that I've just learnt myself using Brusho's masking tape and masking fluid, so lots of masking here. As you can see, I've already cut out my masks and I've used a roll of post-it tape that is completely sticky on the back. My balloon die was larger than my masking tape, so I just put two sheets together, and as you can see there's a line in the middle. That's two strips placed together, and then die cut the balloon out of that. So I've placed it on the card. I'm not quite happy, so I'm just going to just fiddle with that again. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Now at the Happy Little Stampers Craft Retreat that I went to back at the end of July, wow, that's 2 months ago now. I miss you all. Carol did some fantastic masking techniques, and I bought this drawing gum or masking fluid while I was over there, and this is the first chance I've had to actually try it. Now the brush I'm using is also a masking fluid brush. If you don't have one of those, use an old brush because it does gum it up as drawing gum would, I would suggest. So I'm just going to, okay, what I'm trying to do here is the mask where the mask is, once I lift that up it's going to be more clear, but that's where I'm going to add all the Brusho colours. So what I'm doing is I don't want to go outside that area, so I'm going to use the fluid to create another mask, and that is going to allow me to work within the middle of that balloon and not have the colours go where I don't want them to go. Now this stuff dries pretty quickly. You don't have to hang around waiting for it for too long, which is really good. So once you've got it all in place, it doesn't take long to start getting your creative stuff going on. So just to lift the post-it note off, just use a little pokey tool, and you will see it's not perfect, but that's okay. And you're thinking, why not just use the negative part of, use a piece of paper, cut out the balloon, place it over the paper and use that. Well, what will happen with the paper is it will seep and it's not going to work for you at all. So even though my masking fluid isn't perfect, it's a lot better than just trying to use a mask or a stencil. So I'm just going to show you how I'm using my Brushos today is just on my craft mat. Choose the colours that I want for my balloon, and I'm going to use a few colours today to show you how they all work together. Spritz it with a bit of water, and I'm going to use it just like a watercolour, so straight with it picked up with a brush and onto my card. So this is the turquoise Brushos. It's a beautiful colour, and I want to create a bit of a rainbow effect, so I'm just going to lay some colour down. Now I've sped this up. I've got all my colours ready to go, and I'm just cleaning my brush off in between colours, and I'm overlapping the colours slightly so I get that blend, not too much of a harsh line. But what I'm going to do is, as you can see, I'm drying it off, and you will see that the lines are pretty harsh, so I'm just going in and with the brush flat I'm dabbing the colour on, because you'll see once I start drying it again it'll create the different layers, the brighter colours, and you'll get all these effects that you can't control, but they look fantastic. Now when I was using the purple, it's quite dark, so I did create a bit of a line that I didn't like, so you'll watch me, you'll see me working with that colour there just to try and blend that out a bit and not make it so harsh. Lots of colour going on, and as you can see there might be a little bit of seepage from that masking fluid, but my colours are staying right where I want them to be. Now see the effects, especially on the blue and the green. Once you dab on that extra colour and then start drying it all off, it looks fantastic. I love that effect. It's beautiful. Really gives that a watercolour effect, and that's what you're aiming for without being an expert at watercolouring. So I've just got an everyday eraser that I'm going to use to remove the masking fluid. And I started peeling it off. You're going to laugh at me. I'm a bit of a dork when it comes to this sort of stuff. I don't think very well, but I should have just used the eraser just to keep going. It would have been much more pleasant experience, but it's really easy, seriously. Just use an eraser. Don't try and peel it off unless it's only a small part, but I've learnt my lesson. This was the first time I used it, so we learn from our mistakes, don't we, girls? Alright, so as I've said, there's a little bit of seepage, but I think it adds to the effect and I'm not too worried about it. I hope you're not, so we'll keep going with that. Then obviously I've got all this paint, all the extra brushos there, so I'm going to use the flat brush again and let's do some splats. Load your brush up, I tap it with my fingers and you can see I'm controlling it pretty well. I want the colours to remain within their own colours, so it's just gives that extra watery feel, which I like. I think that looks really fun. And then I decided I would show you that we can do the same thing with a butterfly. So I've die cut the butterfly from the Happy Little Stampers butterfly die set, which you can purchase at the shop. And this is all sped up. It's obviously the same deal. I'm not drying in between those colours just quite yet. I'm just getting them to blend and then dry them. Now you'll see what I call, I guess, is just pouncing that colour on top of the other colours. You get those watercolour looks. So it's not just one blob of colour, you've got all that texture coming through. So I used the eraser more that time, didn't I? I must have learnt from my mistake. So more splats. I love splats, spritzing, brushos, lots of water. If you haven't tried them, you really must do. Now, the exciting news is that I'm now stocking brushos in the Happy Little Stamper shop. So have a look. They were cleaned out pretty quickly, so I've got more on order if I don't have the colours that you like, but if you drop me a line, I can order them in for you, no problems at all. So here I'm going to stamp the sentiment from the Fun Birthday sentiment set from Happy Little Stampers as well. I'm using the smallest little sentiment there. It's really, really cute, and you'll see in a minute I've got the wrong card panel. I actually want this one for the balloon. So I'm very proud of how my stamps actually stamp. You don't have to prepare them. There's no washing them. There's no getting the eraser out and rubbing whatever residue may be left on there. Straight out of the packet, stamp them up. They're good to go. They stamp brilliantly every time. I decided to use a bit more of the whimsical sort of fun little sentiment out of the same set for the butterfly one, and of course I'm stamping in archival ink, jet black. I thought that sentiment matched perfectly with my butterfly. And you know what? It's a bit abstract, it's a bit obscure, but you know it's a butterfly, so can't ask for more than that. So here I've put all the cards together. I've added some sequins. I mean, seriously, it took no time to make. The most time is getting the masking fluid, the lid off, putting it on and putting it back on again, and it was a lot of fun. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time. See ya!